Hi, welcome. Today we're going to be reading Parent Power by Carolyn Brewer. As we met during our training, we really focused on Chapter 4, Reading Remedy number 4. 30 minutes a day chases reading blues away. As I read this today, I want you to be thinking as a parent how you can create a routine with your child at home. What do you already do that is working? And what are some things that you are going to be adding to your routine? Remember, the routine does not have to be 30 minutes all at once. It can be a few minutes in the morning as you're getting ready for breakfast. It can be on the bus as you're coming to school. It could be as you're walking or driving. It could be at any time. And then maybe possibly settling in for the night with a book to read. So take a little time to listen in to Reading Remedy number 4, 30 minutes a day, chase the reading blues away. Then we're going to create for you a schedule that you could use at home in addition to what you're already doing. Lovingly, patiently, and excitedly read to and with your child at least 30 minutes each day. There are some reading programs and experts who suggest reading aloud for 15 minutes or 20. Others suggest 30. I recommend 30 because it's what the U.S. Department of Education recommends from infancy, and I find it to be the minimum a child needs to make up for what I call the lost years, described in a study that I'll share more about below and in other chapters. The U.S. Department of Education says reading to a child for 30 minutes per day from infancy helps prepare a child to learn. A 5-year-old who had not been read to daily will enter kindergarten with far fewer hours of literacy nutrition than a child who had been read to every day from infancy. No teacher, no matter how talented, can make up for those lost hours. What does literacy nutrition mean? It means that on average, by the age of 4, children from wealthy or professional families come to school have experienced 33 million more words than children from low-income families and about 20 million more than children from working classes families. And this is extremely important. Children from professional families hear far more encouraging words than children from low-income families. In fact, children from low-income families hear overwhelming majority of negative and discouraging words, while children from professional and wealthier families hear an overwhelming majority of encouraging words. Please refer to the opening chapter, The Higher Way, for a reminder of why this is so important. When children come to school with so few words and so few encouraging words, in their experience, it could take an outstanding teacher every year for the rest of their schooling to make up the difference, and that still might not be enough. That's where parent power comes in. Parent, guardians, and community members who commit to reading to a child lovingly and patiently every day for at least 30 minutes can help children bridge this huge gap. And they can do it more quickly than just having outstanding teachers alone, because it clearly outstanding teachers every single year are not guaranteed, not even in the wealthiest of schools. Pediatrician Robert E. Burke puts the importance of reading to children daily their way in an outlined article for the Scott and White Healthier community. During those first few years, you're developing the capacity to learn. The brain is kind of a blank slate that will be molded and developed. And reading is one of the most influential ways to accomplish it. He added, if you could give a kid something that would prevent school failure and that would prevent a lot of behavioral problems, you would give it every day, he said. So in order to be successful in school, you have to be able to read. The best dose of this medicine to prevent school failure and behavioral problems and to give the best shot at being successful at school is a 30-minute-a-day schedule and routine in reading at home. All of the children I tutored, including Ivory, was required to read each day for 30 minutes. And when they did, they experienced tremendous gains that helped them close the gap created by the lost years when they were not receiving such a rich diet of words, especially encouraging words. In addition to reading with love and patience for 30 minutes, you will do yourself, the children in your life, a huge favor if you read with excitement and drama. In fact, letting you and your child's inner drama come here, queen and king, and run wild in another fantasy way to bridge about the 30 million word gap and create lasting joyful memories is all from your reading. Annie Murphy Paul, author of the brilliant blog, wrote recently that research of Arthur Glenberg, a professional of psychology at Arizona State University, has demonstrated when children are given the opportunity to opt out of written texts, their reading comprehension can actually double. Imagine that. By sounding out the sounds such as raising your voice, squealing, laughing loudly, or in a silly way, speaking in a whisper, singing, and moving your hands and other parts of your body to mimic the movement of characters in the story, such as beating on a table, running in place, waving wildly, as if you're trying to get someone's attention, you can double how much children understand as they are reading the story. This is priceless not only because of the power it gives you as a parent, but because it's tools that cost nothing except your imagination and your willingness to go all in to make your child a reading superstar. You can make your child a reading superstar by making and setting the stage. Are you willing to do it? Let's see. And once your child starts to gain confidence and skill as a reader, and with these strategies, it can happen in just a few weeks. He or she can call on their drama queens and kings as they read. I promise you, both will be amazed at how much fun reading can be. So, how does a busy parent or adult like you find the time to end with children 30 minutes every single day? You don't find it, you make it. Think about the best time of day when there are the fewest distractions or chances for important interruptions, and make that your dedicated time for reading. I would recommend having this time at least a couple hours prior to bedtime so that you and your child are more alert. In addition to your special dedication and your time, you have your child read to you while driving, or you're both traveling by bus, subway, or taxi. You can squeeze in some of these 30 minutes while you're waiting for health or dental care appointments. Keeping books, magazines, or newspapers with you at all times so that whenever there is a spare moment, you can use it to read to you and your child, or have your child read to you. Encourage your child to keep reading materials with him or her as well. However, I recognize there will be some days with you that you just can't squeeze in the 30 minutes. Perhaps you're a parent who works 2 jobs, or weekends or night shifts. Perhaps you are a parent whose job requires you to travel. Whatever the occasion is that makes it difficult for you to read in person, consider finding a trusted adult, older sibling, or relative to read with you while your child wants to be relative to read with your child when you can't be available. Another great way to keep your child reading daily with great guidance is to use CDs or audio downloads of ebooks that you buy, borrow, or exchange, or get from the library. Children can play the CD or audio download and read along to it with the printed copy of the book. Having a parent or loving adult by a child's side is the best way to have a child fall in love with a book and with reading. But for those days when a parent can't sit down with the child, let them read with a recorded version of the book. If you have a voice recorders and video recorders, or even a cell phone, and most tablets record yourself reading a story of a text for your child and let her listen to it when you're not available. Ivory often didn't have anyone to read to him, or anyone for him to read during the week in between our sessions. I knew how critical it was that he get his daily practice. After 3 months of tutoring and not seeing as much progress as I knew he was capable of, I realized that his lack of daily practice with an older sibling or adult was not only slowing his progress, but it was upsetting him emotionally. On several occasions, as he struggled to read, he would go and get so frustrated that he began to cry. I realized that we needed to do something different. I began taping all the stories in the chapters that we read each week. He listened to them and read along with them for 30 minutes each day. We both recognized that this small addition to our routine resulted in a huge and almost instant boost of his reading skills and confidence. There is no substitute for having a parent or caregiving adult lovingly, patiently, and excitedly reading to a child each day. But giving a child a recorded version of a story or a text is a meaningful way to speed or maintain progress and give the adult a break when it's needed. It can also be fun for both. As children improve their reading ability, they may want to record themselves reading. So it takes turns reading the text and acting out the story, and that can be a great way to engage children in the experience of reading, giving them ownership and increase the joy, which is the ultimate goal. Again, this was from Parent Power, from Carolyn Brewer, Chapter 4. If you'd like to reread it on 30 minutes a day, chases the reading blues away, you can come and borrow your book from our library den. As you sit with this today, I want you to be thinking about how, as you as a parent are going to create the joy within your house with reading, what 30 minutes is going to be to your child. So we today have created a schedule for you and a routine that you may already do at home. You might want to add some of these pieces in, and they are skills and strategies that you would like to work on with your child. If you'd like this paper, you can come in to us sometime in the next week or two, pick it up so that you can practice and see your child continue to grow a love for reading. So I'm going to go over it with you briefly so that you can get an idea of what we're looking for and what you can do at home that you may already be doing. A reading schedule, 10 to 15 minutes a night, and in addition, you can do 30 total by reading a book. So the foundations chart. This is a chart that was sent home for each of you. It's the alphabet A all the way to letter Z. As you read this with your child, you first read the letter A, then you say the picture, apple, and then you say the sound, A. So A, apple, A. You do this for every single letter. To begin, you want to do A through Z, and then you may play the game I Spy. For example, I spy a word that has the I sound, and the child would point to the letter I and say I, itch, it. Again, this is one way that takes a few minutes each day. You can put this somewhere in your house. You can rewrite these cards and put them around your room at home and have your child learn the alphabet and their sounds. We also recommend to play sound games. So if you know I, itch, it, you can say, what's another word that starts with the it sound? Or you can begin rhyming. So you can say, be, he, and the child can then come up with another rhyme. For example, be, he, and see. These games are so important to play in the beginning literacy phase. We also recommend daily sight words. Each of you have received the daily sight word list, red all the way to green, which is where we are focusing in kindergarten. These words are words that you know by sight and in a snap. You know them by heart. They are not words that you can sound out. For example, the word you. Y-O-U, you do not sound out phonetically, and so you need to know it in a snap. These words are listed on this sheet. You should be receiving them every night and reviewing them. Have your child start at the red list. When they master every word, congratulations, and move to the next level. This will help your child be ready for first grade and continuing their literacy journey. Each night, grab a book. Find time to read with your child. Find what they like to read at home. What are they interested in? Is it about bugs or different animals? Is it about fiction stories, about the journey of a character, the fairy possibly, or the pirate going somewhere? What does your child like to read? Read with them at home, talk and discuss, act it out, and find the joy of reading. Thank you so much for joining us today. Again, come and borrow your Parent Power book, and if you need, come and borrow or take home the Foundations chart along with the sight words and the routine at home. Thanks for joining us. Again, think about how you can add joy to reading and a routine at home for you and your child.